Welcome to this week's episode of Coffee with the Journalist, brought to you by OnePitch. The guests on our show include some of the most notable journalists who write about topics ranging from technology to lifestyle and culture, health, and science. We discuss the types of stories they cover, their thoughts on exclusives and embargoes, their favorite pitches, and how they connect with sources. Head to onepitch.co and look for the video page to learn more about our new video series featuring journalists from the show. Our guest joining us today on Coffee with the Journalist is Toby Bochan from CoinDesk. Toby is the managing editor of Learn and educational content at CoinDesk. During the episode, Toby talks about how pitches help her learn what's happening in the crypto space, the plethora of NFT pitches landing in her inbox, her advice for pitching multiple journalists exclusives, and more. Let's hear from Toby now.
Welcome, everyone. This is Coffee with a Journalist. I hope you have some coffee. I'm Beck Bamberger. I got my coffee right here. Thank goodness. It's going to be one of those days, so I'm glad I got my coffee. And hopefully you're here because you're listening to a great journalist tell us everything about their preferences. With us today, we have the managing editor of CoinDesk. All you crypto people out there, you're going to love this. Toby Bochan. She's here with us today, going to give us the download pretty much on all her preferences and pitches and inbox mayhem. Toby, welcome.
Thank you for having me back. It's great to be here. I am looking forward to our conversation.
Yes. And you also told me, Toby, even though you're a pretty big deal, this is your first podcast?
It is my first podcast.
You're doing great so far. I love it. Well, first off, for everybody's fundamental understanding, what would you describe CoinDesk is as an outlet?
Sure thing. So CoinDesk is a cryptocurrency digital asset media covering company. So, basically, think of this as the Wall Street Journal, but we're only talking about crypto and digital assets. That can include like NFTs, blockchain, Web3, the metaverse.
Policy.
So pretty broad, policy, regulation. We've got a lot of different angles, but it all is going to relate back to cryptocurrency in some way.
The realm of crypto is now massive. So hence this now outlet just for crypto.
Yep.
And it's wide and vast. Great outlet if you want to learn anything soup to nuts on the crypto industry and so forth. How, Toby, does your inbox look these days?
Well, I've got it down to today, I haven't had a lot of time to go through it, but I am like a person who likes to clean out my inbox. So I have 1,500 unread emails right now, but I also am a person who does the sort through. So I have the promotions, I use Gmail.
Yes.
And so I have the primary promotion social. So I don't even count the promotions one in that.
Yes. Wait. Did you say 15 or 15?
No, only 15 that are in the primary that I have.
Oh, wow. I think you win. I think you get the trophy for smallest inbox on this entire show.
But when you look at that number next to the word inbox, which is just like all the unread stuff, it's 3,000 something because those ones do not get sorted out.
Okay. Got you.
Yeah.
Then for those 15 that are sitting in your inbox right now, / the other inbox, are they a lot of pitches? Is it your reporters? Because you're editor, so that adds another layer of complexity. How would you describe it?
So we use Slack a lot for communication within the team. So that really cuts down on the inbox clutter, and I love it. I'm a huge fan of Slack as a communication. And I use that also with the freelancers I use regularly. So I invite them into, Slack conversations there.
But the freelancers, smart.
I only do that with regular freelancers, but they are people I brought into that community. But, you sort of have to keep that gate a little bit closed for everybody.
Yes.
So, it's a lot of, so it's a lot of still communications. Once I've started a conversation with somebody externally, that's a lot of the things I have to reply. Freelancers who I don't, have handed in drafts or asking questions about drafts handed in, communications around stories that, I may have said, we're going to send somebody or we're going to cover. So people following up on that. That's what's in, and then meeting requests and stuff like that just end up in that box too. Yeah, but it's a lot of, and anytime I'm working on a larger project with a larger group at CoinDesk, usually there's stuff that ends up threading through there that, because if they're not on the editorial team, like if I'm working with product or the graphic designer, like that will often have to sort of end up in my inbox.
Okay.
Yeah, but the promotions is where a lot of the pitches end up. But I do go through it. I just don't always mark it. So I do scan through every day and try to at least see what's come through, what people are pitching, and what sort of. And that's also where newsletters a lot go. And I do love to read newsletters.
Yes.
So, and I do love that Google is smart enough to know when I read a newsletter every day, and that goes, and then it sends it into my like primary tab.
Oh, I didn't know it did that. That's good to know. Okay. I like your utilization. One of Slack, big time, including your freelancers, and then the primary pattern recognizing that Gmail can do. Oh, that's good. So do you open all pitches, Toby?
No, I definitely don't. But I try to look at them, especially because I'll tell you, I only started working in cryptocurrency about a year ago now. So you still find pitches as a way to learn what's going on. And I do want to take the time to, if something catches my interest, I want to read what it's about, what they're doing. And it helps me to gauge sort of what is happening, because it's an incredibly noisy space. And some of it is, that's the only way I'll hear about it, because, that's sort of the blunt instrument that a lot of new projects are using, or, people are trying to get noticed. And, sometimes I do find something interesting that just sort of piques my interest in those pitches. And then there are people who I work with, I look for names I know, or people that I sort of know that they work with a company or a project that I have covered before. So I want to see what's new.
That's interesting. I haven't heard someone on here before at least say, well, maybe that's not true. I'd have to fact check myself. But say, hey, I look at pitches to learn.
Yeah. And I mean, that is my overview, my two main topics at CoinDesk. I oversee all the education and learn content. So I'm constantly learning and seeing what's out there, but I'm also overseeing a lot of our new Web3 content, sort of, as I spoke to before, metaverse, NFT, play to earn games, or that kind of stuff. And that's more new to me. And there's a ton of pitches coming, like the NFT, there's a new NFT thing I see every day. So I'm still sort of using pitches to see like, what are the common things that people are saying and what makes something really unique in the space. And that is helpful for me to sort of just look at. I also get pitches that I just ignore because some pitches sort of follow you around.
Yes.
Where you go. Yeah. So like I used to work in traditional finance. So I see a lot of
TD Ameritrade, for example. Yeah.
Exactly. Right. I was at TD Ameritrade for a couple of years, and so I still sort of, it's storyful. So there's like a bunch of things that have sort of followed me by however people found me. I don't even know, like good for you.
But wait a second. They're emailing your CoinDesk email?
Yeah. I don't know. And I have spoken also at sort of traditional finance things in a crypto, with a crypto bend. So like I was at a conference last May, which I guess is just this May. Everything moves so fast, but around aimed at advisors and wealth managers and, CFPs and stuff. So I got on a lot of lists through that. I think also is probably the real story, although it seems some of them are familiar to me. That's why I think that it's probably false that they followed me from TD Ameritrade. They probably picked me up from there. But those are not traditionally very relevant to how we're covering, because I don't need to cover, sort of general market moves or related specifically to crypto. It's not.
Today's interview will continue after this brief message brought to you by OnePitch. Are you curious to see the unique ways OnePitch helps PR professionals and marketers pitch journalists? Head to onepitch.co to learn about our new OnePitch score and see how easy it is to find the right journalist to pitch your news to. Sign up for your free account today. Now, back to today's episode.
Do you, Toby, hot topic, like exclusives or embargoes?
I do. I definitely, if you put embargo or exclusive in front of it, it's more likely that I'll read it. I will tell you, one of the things that's interesting about how our inboxes work these days is, I've had, even in my short time here, employees who have come and gone. And because I'm the managing editor of these departments, their emails filter into me. So sometimes I'll see, if you're giving someone an exclusive, I'll sometimes see an exclusive come to me and somebody who used to work for me, and that is not great. So if you're giving someone an exclusive, and I guess we're still all at CoinDesk and they're trying to reach someone, but it does sort of raise a red flag, like how exclusive is this offer?
Okay. Yeah. This is always like It's such a talking point, and I don't know why, because it should just be you just get this story, you just have it. So there's that.
And when it really is exclusive, I definitely do want to see, like, is it something that we want to cover, and what is the length of the exclusive, like, how long will we have it, and who else will be offered if we don't take it, because obviously I want to break stories and have that kind of credibility. Like, that really is, we want to be known as the people who have scoops and exclusives. So certainly important to us.
Yes. Okay. Good to know. Do you have any subject lines that you like absolutely love?
I like when people know that I do, primarily focus on the Learn or Web3 stuff. So like, they're sort of like, if they are calling out, like, this is a new thing that's relevant to me. I mean, the words like exclusive, embargo are good, but like, keep it simple. If there's somebody famous involved, I'm interested in that. People do click on, for instance, there's a project called Doodles. It's an NFT thing. And Pharrell was announced as, the like new creative director there. Like, that's interesting. Like, when big names get involved in crypto, that's still pretty newsworthy.
Yeah, it is.
So, celebrity stuff is certainly of interest. So definitely call those out in the subject line.
Put the celebrity, drop it in the line. But you then better be telling a real story, or like really have it, because I've heard people using subject lines that are not telling the truth. And then it's like a bait and switch, which really is a bad look. So we don't want any of that.
Exactly. Like, so don't just throw celebrities' names in there because, like, Paris Hilton has done stuff with crypto and NFTs.
Yeah.
Like, actually involved in your thing. That's not relevant.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Toby, before we get into our little fill in the blank section, are you reading, watching, listening to anything that you just love? I get all my book recommendations here.
I'm in a book club I've been in for 20 years. So I'm a pretty big reader. I had my background way before journalism was as a creative writer.
Wait, so 20 years? Is it the same book club you've been in?
Yeah.
What?
I know. We've been, it's actually over 21 years now, because we started before September 11th.
Is it the same people?
Some of us, there's 4 or 5 of us that have been the same 4 women.
What?
Yeah.
I love it. Do you meet in person? How do I be part of this?
We do meet in person. During the pandemic, we actually were open to Zoom people. So we had people who were not in New York, but we're all in New York, and we meet up. We try to meet up in person. During the pandemic, we definitely did a Zoom shift.
And how often do y'all meet up?
We try to meet once a month, but the summer usually gets a little messy because everyone goes away and has big plans. But we generally meet once a month.
I love this. Wait, so what's a favorite book from the last maybe 6 months that you all like loved?
Cloud Cuckoo Land, which is by Anthony Doerr, who wrote All the Light We Cannot See.
Yes. I'm familiar.
Fantastic. And as a summer read, kind of like great, like fast read, we read Marcy Demansky's new book, which is called Hurricane Girl. Or actually, I don't think we read that in the book. Some of us did, but it wasn't an official pick. That was like we do like a summer reading thing. Like, we're not going to meet, but everyone can read that book. And that was just like just so much fun to read book. Just a fun beach ready type of thing. But but also not just like, not total fluff. Like, it was interesting, also very readable. And like, I read it in like a weekend. So,
ooh, wow. Yeah. Wow. This is a quote that says, like, is one of the most wildly original writers that I've ever seen. Wow. This is from the author of Nothing to See Here. Oh, wow. Okay. See, this is why I love to ask this question. Wonderful. Okay, Toby, we're a little pressed for time, so we'll see if we get to the fill in the blank, but let's see how this question goes. What do you think the future of journalism is? Especially for you being in it as long as you have been.
I mean, I think the future of journalism is very much still evolving, but I do think that like a lot has changed, and most of the younger generations are getting their news like they've never read print newspapers. Like, those are not going to come back.
Yeah, I still read print Wall Street Journal every day. I'm just throwing that out there.
Congratulations, that's amazing. I don't
New York Times anymore. So, but I'm like old school, raised that way, so that's me.
Yeah, but like subscription things. But I think that the definition of where people get news has expanded. Like, when I think of, like, everybody does still read like those sort of big temple, like Wall Street Journal, New York Times. But like, when you look at like some of my reading habits, even is like looking at like Substacks and subscription based services, I think is going to be a huge growth. Like, that has been proven. Like, if you have good content that's really relevant, like The Athletic's a great example of something that hired like really talented people who really spoke to the audience and really knew who they were speaking to, and made a successful business at a time when people were like, are people really going to pay for just sports? the answer is yes. Sports fans really wanted to have that community and that knowledge. So really focusing on, and I think what CoinDesk is doing, like we're just talking about cryptocurrency. We're only going to focus on this. We're not going to spread out and do that sort of like Frankenstein site that's just like, oh, I got good clicks on this, so let's just do 7,000 stories on this. Not really core principle of our journalism and our mission. So I think the companies that focus that way are going to see success, while the companies that sort of just go after search traffic in that sort of just like spray and pray way is
yeah,
not.
it's kind of spray and pray. It doesn't work for pitches, doesn't work for journalism.
Yeah,
I think that's what we're kind of getting to, like deep, funneled, focused industry expertise, analysis, I think there's still a big opportunity for long form. Like, I love a 3,000 word piece. Like, great. Took you 7 months to write it, but I love it. Yeah.
100%. And like also just looking at the right storytelling methods. So like podcasts and video, whatever it is, like figuring out what's the right way to deliver that. Yeah. And who are you speaking to? So like becoming more adaptable in that way. And I think podcasts have done a really good job generally, actually, with that. I listen to a lot of podcasts while I run.
Yes. Oh, well, you run, me too. Oh, I love it. Well, Toby, I know we are pressed for time, so I think we should end here on the relatively positive note of journalism continuing in deeply formatted, focused expertise, of which you are definitely getting more and more in this crypto landscape. Thank you for being here. Way to knock out your first podcast.
Thank you so much, Beck. You made it amazingly easy. I really appreciate it.
Oh, you're so welcome. Toby Bochan, she's from CoinDesk, managing editor, pitcher in her inbox. She might actually read it because she only has like 15 emails that she hasn't read today. Had to throw that in. We'll see what happens. Or maybe she'll eventually add you to Slack if you're pitching a story and you're a writer. Hey, how about that? You never know. Thank you, Toby.
Thank you so much, Beck.
Thanks for listening to this week's episode of Coffee with the Journalist featuring Toby Bochan from CoinDesk. To learn more about the latest tools on OnePitch and to subscribe to our weekly podcast newsletter, head to our website at onepitch.co. We'll see you all next week with even more insights about the journalists you want to learn more about. Until then, start great stories.